So, I want to apologize for the rain. Didn't know it was gonna be raining like this. So, give you my quick review on Morbius, the living vampire. Maybe that's what they should call a sequel. So, this movie, overall, it felt like a throwback movie. Like another throwback to the 90s. Kind of like what Venom is. And it seems like Sony, when it's not Spider-Man, that's kind of what they go with. They go with this throwback 90s feel that feels good. Now, I see that there's critics, don't really care. Some people are like, this movie's like the worst comic book movie ever. I'm like, not even by a long shot. People need to like stop doing that. Thinking that everything that they ever experienced is like the worst thing ever. I guarantee you can think of a worse comic book movie you've seen. Now, I can, so to get the problems out the way that I had with the movie, which, you know, the movie's not perfect. One of the major things is that you could definitely tell they edited things out. If you go back and look at the first trailer, for example, there's stuff that they kind of edited out. You could see there was more to this movie than that. Now, that might have had something to do with a timing issue, to say the least. It could have been, hey, you know what? We don't want this movie to go but so long. You know? So, with that being said, the movie didn't. Alright, so basically, there's stuff you've seen in the trailer that's just not there. That's the easiest way I could put it. Now, I seen there are some people said that wasn't blood. Now, it was blood, but it wasn't like, how can I put it? It was a PG-13 blood, but I did see a couple reviewers like say, or at least one or two, like there was no blood whatsoever. You heard a gurgle, you didn't see anything. I'm like, actually, if you look at the screen, they would do this really cool effect where if he would hit somebody, you would see a splatter on the screen. It was kind of black. It kind of reminded me of old comic books, actually. And you would also see like stuff on there. Now, my thing with Sony every single time has been, the movie should be rated R. You're going to do a vampire, you're going to do Venom, you're going to do Carnage, it should be rated R. Not saying that they aren't doing fine and I don't enjoy them not being rated R. But if I had my preference, they would be rated R. The movies themselves, like the pacing, definitely I felt it. Like a little bit like, okay, there's probably some more scenes. And for example, there was something in the trailer that was like, how far should you push? As far as you go. Like, I feel like they cut out a subplot. Probably to tighten the movie up and to get it moving. They probably felt the movie was dragged down a little bit. When me and my friends, or my friends and I, like when we all left the movies, we all agreed that it could have handled another 20, 30 minutes. We would have actually liked more, which is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. We wanted more from it. And it wasn't like we want more of Morbius. It can be a bad thing sometimes because then it feels like you didn't get enough. But we were like, we could have handled more. But we all were like, yo, we actually enjoyed what we got. The action was good. The character himself, Jared Leto, did a great job. The Morbius look was fan-freaking-tastic. Like, it looked like Morbius, but it also looked like they put a little bit of their own flavor on it, and I just think that was just great. Great. The way his powers worked were just cool. The echolocation, the way he moved, how you could see him, but he moved so fast, it was like a blink or like an after effect. When they would do their fights, strength, All that stuff is freaking great. I thought it was awesome. I'm trying to think any other issues I had with the movie. Like I said, I feel like there were some subplots that weren't there, but it did keep the movie very focused. And now this isn't just Marvel films or Sony films. This is like a lot of superhero films as a whole. DC, I guess it's more Marvel, because DC doesn't really seem to have the same. Well, no, Man of Steel. I'm trying to think of other ones. Aquaman. All right, so yeah, DC does kind of have it too. Wonder Woman is an exception. Now, like I said, this isn't just Morbius. This is just a thing as a whole that I'm hoping they start to get away from. I wish more superhero films would stop making the first villain be the dark version of them. It's like a super trope. Now, you might be wondering, what am I talking about, right? Okay. Iron Man, Ironmonger. He's just a bigger version of Iron Man. Incredible Hulk, Abomination. Love that movie. Still a bigger version. Superman fought Zod. Aquaman fought Ocean Master. Ant-Man fought Yellow Jacket. Like, I could keep going, you know? Even Wolverine, when they did Wolverine's first movie, he fought Sabretooth. Now, I'm not saying these characters should not be in there or classics or anything like that. But I would like for them to start having a villain who's a little bit different from them. I mean, really, honestly, think about it. Captain America fought Red Skull. Now, that makes sense because that's heavily in his origin. But Ant-Man Scott Lang, you didn't need Yellow Jacket. For the Hulk, you could have did the leader instead of the Abomination. Like, Iron Man. Yes, a lot of Iron Man's villains have armors, or you could have done Mandarin. Shang-Chi fought the Mandarin, Kung Fu thing. Like, I really would like to see them start digging deeper when they do their movies, especially the first villains. So, you couldn't tell, Morbius's villain is a mirror image, like a dark mirror image of him. But I did like how, is there much else? There wasn't much else I really had to complain about it. So, I liked his look. I liked that they had, like, they added this thing with artificial blood to show, like, how much of a genius he was. And they called it the blue versus the red. And what Morbius had to deal with. I wish they would have did a little more with his, like, montage stuff, but overall I liked his character. I also am okay with how they handled his face change. It was when he would become the vampire, and it was like a certain level, so they used it for story plot so he didn't have to have the face change the entire time. Technically, Morbius in the comics, his face looks like that all the time. In this, he would go back and forth to human, and they added some elements to, like, why he was this way, when he would change the emotion. Like, I like that, actually. I thought it was a good add-on to the character himself, actually. And it was a good reasoning for why he didn't have his face that way. The story was pretty good. They had the love interest thing, which I'm like, okay, fine. There was an interesting take on dealing with people and how they had the blood disease. I liked what they did with the blue and how you saw how that artificial blood helped the world, and you saw the type of character Morbius was versus the type of character someone else is who gets put into that same position. Like I said, action was pretty solid. The story was straightforward. I liked all the after credits. And you got to see Morbius do a lot. And I just think overall the movie itself, and I know I'm probably like sounding like I'm rambling, but it's because my head's in like 50 places. The movie is a good time. That's my rating. I had a very good time with it. All my friends had it. It's a 90s throwback movie. Don't go in there and think, oh, this is going to change everything. No, it's just a really fun, interesting movie. You can feel that there was more story to tell and they just kind of didn't do it. You can definitely feel that. But it wasn't to the detriment of the film itself as a whole. It hurt it a little, but not enough to be like, oh yeah. I'll put it to you like this. I enjoyed that movie more than Eternals. And I enjoyed it more than Black Widow. So if that's any indication. But go in there with hey, this is like that 90s feel kind of movie, not the current ones, and you might have a pretty decent time. So like I said, my rating is a good time. This is Geek Protagonist. You stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real. And I'll see ya.